Hey, everybody. I don't know how this is going to come up, but there's my grandparents. And I was saying how they died from, gas, and it happened in the winter. And I'm going to have this playing in the background while I read the story. This is what I call Four Generations. It's a video I put up on my YouTube channel. And I'm going to hold this up. I haven't done this kind of thing in a long, long time. But my dad, he worked for this here newspaper, the Quincy Patriot Ledger. And this is, out of Massachusetts, but that's why, because he worked for them, they put it in the front page of the paper when his parents, my grandparents, died from gas. That happened back in December of 1951. At the time, my mother was pregnant with me, and I'd be born like 6 months later. But it doesn't say this here in this, but they literally had Christmas gifts packed because they were coming down. They lived in New Hampshire, and they were coming down to visit my dad and mom because, I had two older sisters. They were bringing gifts down for them for Christmas. They wanted to see her because, she's going to have a baby and all that. So I'm going to read you the story here, and then we'll call it a day. This here, by the way, my sister made these copies. She was up in Massachusetts a number of years ago, and she went to this big library up there where they have microfiche, and you can go through it. And she found stuff in the newspapers. He worked for that newspaper. He retired from it. And let me find my glasses. I'm going to put this. Oh, gee, what did I put together? Yeah, these are all pictures of my father mostly. My father's family had some money. My mother came from a dirt poor family, and I don't have a single picture for when she was young. The first picture that we've got of my mom, because her family, I mean, they were so poor, it's ridiculous. I could tell you a long story about that, but we're not going to go there today, anyways. The very first picture she's got of herself was, you'll see it here, when she met my dad, right after World War II ended, 1945. Imagine you don't have a single picture of yourself till you're like, 20 something years old. She was born, they were both born in 1918. And so you take 1918 to 1945, 18, 28, 38. She was like 27 years old when she finally gets a photograph of herself. Anyways, I'm going to read the story here, and then I'll show you one other kind of interesting fact. It says Weymouth man's parents found dead, and I'm going to have to pause this because I can't read it well even with these glasses. Okay. It says the parents of a Weymouth man were found dead today in their gas-filled Concord, New Hampshire home. Blame hot water heater. Victims of the Christmas tragedy were Joseph O. Charpentier, 77, an antique dealer, and his wife Mary, 72, parents of Arnold Charpentier, a district manager of the Patriot Ledger Circulation Department. The elderly pair were found this morning at 10 o'clock by a nephew making a casual call of their South Main Street home. That home later got tore down, and the hospital, if you went up to Concord, New Hampshire now and went down Main Street, the hospital bought up all the land, and the hospital grew and grew, which happens everywhere. The Concord Monitor said the house was filled with illuminating gas escaping from a hot water heater. The heater was turned on, but the flame had been extinguished. Death was due to accidental asphyxiation, according to a medical examiner's findings. The elderly pair apparently had been dead since Wednesday. They had not been seen since then. The monitor said sharpened tear was found on the floor of a combination kitchen sitting room, his wife in a chair nearby. Fire Chief Clarence H. Green said it is a wonder the house was not rocked by explosion. The flames of an oil range burner apparently had burned out before the house filled with gas. That's where it ends. I can read better than that. The print on this it's not a very good copy. What's really weird about this is this happened, in December of 1951, and right before Christmas, and December 1955, we moved to a different house, and the house we moved to was still lived in Weymouth. We moved from East Weymouth to South Weymouth. The house we moved to belonged to a family by the name of Blackstone. Now, I don't know if they were related to this particular story at the top of the page, but it was about a kid they found drowned in a pond. Kids are always falling through the ice on ponds back then. They still do, I guess. But it's just crazy, this story's here and that's up there, and things in this world are, to me, they're right in front of your face, and there's lots of answers out there, but most people don't see them. But, what are the odds of this happening? And then my parents deciding to move in, right? At Christmas, we moved in that house just before Christmas, and I can remember it. Not real good, but I remember it enough. And, you got that name there. I mean, that's not a real common name, and you pick out a house, and it's weird. I don't know. I always think about stuff like that. Anyways, I'm not going to go on this. You can watch this if you want to. It's on my YouTube channel. It's called 4 Generations, and it shows from my grandparents all the way up to me and my wife and our kids. And that's about it. And I just wanted to tell you, because I did that thing about that buddy stove we got. My wife returned the one, and she was glad to get her money back on that. She used it as store credit at Walmart. She bought a bunch of junk food, and that's not junk, but some of it was junk food. And we still got one of them, and we got a bunch of cylinders, and believe it or not, I don't know if we'll use it again this year, because today's kind of a lousy day out here. It's not going to get above 50 or much above 50, and it's rainy. And then tonight it gets cooler. But tomorrow it warms up, and next thing you know, we got like 6-7 days in a row coming where it's going to be in the 70s and sunny, and maybe it'll be over. And winter's short down here. And last year, this year we had this big freeze that came through. The year before, I marked stuff on calendars, and 2025 we had a snowstorm here. So, it's at the same time period. That's about it, everybody. Thanks for watching. And yeah, we used to sell these at my store. Anyways, we'll see y'all later.